Morning Scrum with Govind Davis.
All right, we're back. I'm glad
Yeah,
you
it's
decided
great.
you wanted to do this. Okay, so what we're gonna do, and we'll keep it like super
Yeah.
low key. You can show yourself or not. It doesn't really matter because the
Yeah.
value for me today is just being able. I need to show this anyway, and then after I show it, I'll write it all up and I'll share the instruction with you, and you can do with it what
Mhm.
you want. It's just how I built the nanobot. And I'll tell you the reason
Mhm.
why I think it's useful is because it's by far the lowest cost way to operate this. And
Mhm.
you got to spend money on AI, but I think having your own like actual like bot is like if you could get through the like mental exercise of building it, which is a pain, it will be life changing. So I'm going to show it to you and then you decide what you want to do. So anybody,
Okay.
right? I mean, hopefully it helps you and other people. So real quick, like sponsor time, warm up IP. I need to turn the why is this one on? Like agentic AI. Okay, anyway, and we'll move quickly into the sometimes I like just don't get this tool. Okay, there it goes. All right. Anyway, these guys do. Actually, you're a sales guy, right? So you get. Yeah. I mean, you're doing emails.
Yeah.
So they this particular product is focused on email warm up. Like that's what I
Warm
was
up.
mentioning with like Seren is the domain reputation's already good, so your emails are getting through. Now it doesn't mean that that you don't need some warm up, but um, it's a different situation than if you're like a brand new company or a smaller company or just like there's a lot of situations where you need this, right? So but I'm not going to get we're going to focus today on let me get this set up here. Like I need to share my screen and then I'll show you what and the reason. So this gets recorded and then I use the transcript to produce my content basically. Like within
Mhm.
15 minutes of the show ending, like I'll have an article produced that's like really good.
Mhm.
And now if I want to add, a React component or a video, actually produce video, I could spend a couple hours on an article, but I don't have the time for that today. I might. A lot of times I'll create something and then circle back and augment it, but the core ideas will come from this. So this is basically the foundation of like for me of building your own bot is it has to have a home. And I'm going to say this, there's only certain decisions you can make when it comes to your robot's home. Like I think it's a dangerous and bad idea to put an autonomous
Mhm.
agent on your own like desktop or laptop machine. You may easily come back to your machine just being trashed, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do not think it's a good idea. And if you go back to the art, there's an article I think I wrote earlier this week talking about Jensen Wang, and he's saying, look, Open Claw is the biggest technical innovation of our time or whatever, something along those lines. And I'm like, what? Like, what is he talking about? Right.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I tried this with OpenClaw. This is on DigitalOcean, and these are droplets. Okay, now there's all kinds of different ways, but the droplet is about as affordable as you can get, and still getting like a lot of control of like it's a virtual private server. So you're getting your own little like server out in space, and you can pay for it sort of incrementally. There's another service I think called Hetzner, which is a German service that's I think even cheaper or whatever. But this is about as cheap as it gets, and so you can just create a droplet. Now the thing is to run a robot, an intelligent bot, you need a certain amount. You can put them where you want,
Mhm.
um, and my setup, I use Ubuntu, and in
Mhm.
order to do the digital robot or whatever you want, so it's going to cost $32 a month for the server roughly. Now you could do
Mhm.
it on less. I'm certain. Okay. So, but I think you could do it on probably 16. So that there's a certain amount of like like if you're going to have an autonomous agent that's on all the time doing work for you, you're going to spend a certain amount of money on the actual like infrastructure to run the agent. Like there's just no way around that. It's kind of like, okay, think about like, getting a computer for, if you go buy a new computer, it's going to cost you $300 or $400 to run this, right? Or whatever, like with 4 gigs of RAM, or you can't avoid that cost. And then this is another thing, honestly, like I'm not going to go through the whole security, but you have to create an SSH key and you have to be able to like shell in. But the best thing for me, and is that like, even though I didn't really know about this, okay, I'm going to say this. The other good thing is this whole setup worked, that the security access was way easier than what I tried to do OpenClaw a couple of different ways, and it was a nightmare. So that the first piece is you're going to have a droplet. And then the other thing is you need windsurf. You don't have to use windsurf. You need some kind of like, okay, I'm going to tell you, like, I got windsurf to work and it created some really cool things for me. And then I was like, because it worked and it's super affordable. It's like, honestly, the amount of cost of you could probably use free windsurf if you knew what you were doing and easily build what I'm doing. Right. But what happens is that once you down the road, you're going to get the server and you're going to want, to make changes and updates. So this is $15 a month, and I've burned through a lot of credits. I went way over, but I built a lot of things and made a lot of mistakes, right? So windsurf, you can see I went over by 5. I'm already into my first refresh bucket, and I have 25 days left. But once this settles down, like I'm going to go back to work. I'm going to be spending my time. Like what costs a lot is like deploying servers, and like I've banged my head against the wall, like literally, 3 times the OpenClaw blew it up, Nano got it working, but still there's a lot of little tweaks and things that you kind of have to go through. So like if you're going to do this, and somebody helps you through it or whatever, you're probably in way better shape than I would be. And like I'm like somebody who doesn't write code really. Have done enough to be a little dangerous, but so I'm just having the command line do everything for me. And you could do it like way fast. Like again, like even like for me to do this the next time, and because the instructions are all here written out and everything, it's like, so to me, people don't have to, I experienced many days, not just of the Nano stuff was quick, but it's all the learning and just trying things and creating my other servers to host things and figuring, but I just went crazy. It was like, I'm going to learn and become a windsurfer, so that's how I got it to work. A lot of people I think are getting there through Claude Code. And to me, I think it's just, there's VS Code is another way, which is Microsoft stuff, which was just super overwhelming to me. There's probably a half a dozen, like probably pretty viable IDEs. Like you just, there's a bunch, they all have different pros and cons, I think. But for me, it's like, what's going to work for you to go architect and build an autonomous agent that works for you? Because when you get to the other side of that, your whole life will be changed. So that's 2 key pieces to it. But the most important piece is NanoClaw. So it's a GitHub repository, but I'm going to go to like, maybe somebody that actually has like, here you go. It's just give some news on it, right? OpenClaw and NanoClaw, right? It's like, OpenClaw like blew the lid open on this, right? Like there's some other stuff people are like, okay, it's like, forget agents, it's claws, right? And it's the claw is, and to me, like what naming, whatever, it's like the claw is it. I mean, whatever why they call it claw, I don't know, but this is like your like heartbeat. It's a heartbeat. It has the features of like an autonomous being in a package that is like 500 lines of code, I guess, and it also features container isolation. So, meaning like you I try to describe this in layman's terms. It's really has a really intelligent security model so that it can like do a lot of powerful things with skills and connections. And when you have the like windsurf to help you implement those things, it can be extremely powerful, but it also has like a really like common sense security approach and isn't going to like blow up like the way OpenClaw would. So understanding this like per group memory, like I had to do a lot of work to get two different like, containers to talk to each other or share knowledge, right? And it's sort of designed for like, and all these things, agent swarms, it connects with Anthropic, here you go, Claude AI or Open AI. And honestly, like, this isn't the right comparison because this is sorry, Cloud AI, Open AI, or Cloud. See, these is not even the right like, yeah, these two are two different things because Claude or ChatGPT, they're not sitting around thinking and being your like having the Nano is like having a personal assistant who literally is doing work for you. Like you can't really get that, right? Anyway, this is a pretty decent, and I would never try this installation myself, but you can just point, your IDE and say, here's some instructions, and it's going to get you through it basically. And what you end up with, okay, now the other thing I'll say this, like, I don't know why they're focused on WhatsApp. WhatsApp's actually kind of hard. Telegram is by far the easiest. Telegram is way easier to connect to. And so anyway, that's just so that my actual final robot or whatever, all I do is just interact with it through Telegram, and it can do just insane things. Now I did a few other things already where like I hooked it up to Google Drive. So like all the contents it's producing, it pushes it there. But you can imagine like, I there's more things like I needed to hook it up to my email, but there's all these like Claude skills that you just install and you're like, I can connect to email, or I can connect it to HTTP, or I can put a headless browser in, and it can do all of anything in a digital world. There's going to be a library for it to execute, and the IDE is going to help you like plan and tell you what to do. And you just have to be patient. You have to put a few hours, it's not 15 minutes, it's hours. But imagine you take a day or two and you like really get into this. And then you're like, oh my gosh, not only do I have a robot, but I know how to like program and control my robot to do things that are like super, high value in the world that, that you work in, right? Like, okay, here's these sales tasks that you're like, oh my gosh, this would, it's going to 10X what you can do because you're like, yeah, I could go find people, research them, do all this, or I can just say, hey, you come up with 20 people that look like X, send me all the research, come up with the message that I'm going to send. And all I need to do is look at it, use my brain for a minute and decide what to do and click the button or come back and say, do X. And it has all the skills. It says, if you say, send it an email, it'll send an email. If you say, send it in LinkedIn, it'll send it in LinkedIn, and I just think that experience is going to, for so many people, it's going to be totally transformational. So anyway, sorry, I didn't let you get to talk at all, but I'd love to get your thoughts. I mean, I hope this is useful for you.
Yeah, it is wonderful, Govind, just sharing your experience using, this OpenClaw and this windsurf just to create a robotic. Just so it's great. So your day-to-day things, just we can do it through on here. So it's wonderful.
So tell me give me a little bit about your background. So you and I, we like literally just met on this Sorrent call, and where are you located? Are you in Europe then?
Yes, I'm based in Europe. Yeah.
Gotcha. What in Italy itself, or?
No, in Germany right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I lived in Switzerland when I was like 16 or 15, and I turned 16 there, and
mm,
then was uh yeah, so I learned I by the time I got back, I was there for a year. I spoke German pretty well. So do you speak German then, or what's your
yeah, I speak a little bit, not that much fluent.
gotcha?
Yeah. So this is the
Yeah.
diagram for, like, the this map is a map.
This isn't really the architecture diagram.
Mm,
It's this is really like the conceptual idea that got me thinking about building it, and then realizing like, okay, this actually pretty much exists. Like all I
mm,
did was diagram kind of like actually like pretty much how the agentic model, like this is pretty much how it works, honestly. Although it wasn't, it what so I was just thinking, I'm like, maybe super quickly I could show the stack. You have like what you have here is you've got you can just call it your infrastructure layer, right?
mm,
Which is DO, Digital Ocean. And then like, and it's not going to be a great map, but and then like I'm gonna call it Timbot. I name mine Tim. You can just literally tell it like,
mm.
hey, your name's Tim. You do the introduction
Your
and you're like, yeah, I'm
pseudonym,
like
yeah.
yeah, Tim was this like hacker kid that I hired. Gosh, why
Yeah.
is it? Why it's like my cap locks won't go off or something. Uh, I don't care. I'm just gonna go like so. There's like the Tim bot is sitting out here, and I mean,
Mm,
basically, actually, you can create lots of these, and they're like inside of the droplet. I'm not even going to say what that is. I'll just get to it later. So they're inside the droplet, and then, um, to be honest, I mean, there's really not that much. The only other thing that's left is the I don't know what I want to call it. I'm just call it your vibe tool.
mm.
It's not really like a two-way. Yeah, that's it, honestly. It's just that like literally that simple. And what makes it really to me actually work is like the vibe tool is basically going to do it's going to is like the vibe tool is basically what is you're using to like manipulate and both the the droplet and then also like what's inside of it essentially. There's more to it, but like basically like it's that simple. So you're just like, hey, I just need the infrastructure, I need a droplet, and then
Mm,
I need the vibe code tool to help me like the wrench to go around and do stuff. So anyway, and then so anyway, so let's jump back to what I've got a pretty good set of stuff. I'll like put it all together and you can check it out, and if you decide to
yeah.
build it. Let me know.
Yeah.
I think this is here's the thing, like, once you figure out how to, like, control your bot, you can go in and be like,
Mm,
"Hey, I wanna go," there's so many places you could go. You're like, "Hey, if I wanna take the technical leap, I can or spend the money," you can go, like, if you're starting to do a lot of work, you could say, "Hey, I'm gonna just increase the size of this thing and install my own, LLM," or you probably put the LLM
mm,
on a separate droplet, or you can take this in so many directions, but at the smallest,
mhm,
most incremental level, this works and will give you this is the cheapest and most functionally the cheapest, safest, and most functionally uh how would I say
agent.
capable.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you really can't get cheaper, more functional, more range of possible functionality. I mean, you're not limited by somebody else's stuff. You're just limited with your time and your ability to get windsurf or whatever IDE
Mm.
to shape, to just go through the pain of configuring and checking everything and all that. So what do you think, man? Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna build it, or are you gonna just watch and
Yeah,
see?
let me figure it out. Govind, just thanks for insight. Just want to do from my side, just to build something for me, for my professional life. Then how we can leverage this thing. Just want to
I,
set up. Just, yeah,
I think if you go and you get any other kind of tool where you're just like, oh, it's Claude or it's Gemini,
yeah.
and you try to make the most
Mm,
of it,
mm,
it is it will never achieve what you can do when you actually have an auto it's a like what it is. It's like, imagine at a physical level having a robot in your house that will basically just continuously be cleaning, picking
yeah.
things up,
Mm,
versus like a robotic thing that meaning like versus something that's not quite that, right, where it's like you have to still do
mm,
manage it all the time or whatever. It's like that mental leap is the thing that's going to change AI for people. And like I said, you can, if you're not building it yourself and you're buying it from somebody else who's already made it easy for you,
mm, yeah.
you're going to pay, you know 2
Yeah.
times, 10 times, 50 times
X of
this.
bucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome,
it
man.
is better to create our own. Yeah, so it help us to build these kind of things, and just we can do smart ways of doing jobs. Yeah.
I am so worn out and exhausted from doing this, but I just hope it's an inspiration to
Yeah.
everybody, man. No, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Devin, I'm
Great.
gonna I'm gonna let
Yeah.
you jump, but like I said, I'll share this with you, and then let's connect on LinkedIn, and I'll create a little post about it, and then that way we can bump each other up and go sell a lot of
Yeah.
technology.
Sure. Gavin, we'll be connected. Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Have a
Knowing all
great
these things. Yeah.
evening.
Wonderful. You too. You too. Yeah. Bye. Bye, Gavin. Bye.